Supervisors, as we're meeting in special session on this 15th day of March, 2016 at 9 a.m. with all three members present in the northeast corner of the courthouse. First item on our special session agenda is an approval or amendment of the agenda that has been presented.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve the agenda as printed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second that.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Thompson.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Are you awake?
Move.
What'd we do?
Boy, this
Say
is
a name.
this is bracket
This is
day.
like-
This
this is
yeah.
like herding
Cats here this morning. All right, moving on to item number 2, Buildings and Grounds Department, receive and opening of bids for Marshall County Courthouse masonry replacement. We'll open the bids and read them aloud as and on this project. And Deanne, you guys want to open them up and start off with the name of the.
How many did we get? Five.
Five.
Five. There's 2 envelopes for one company, but I'm guessing it's maybe duplicate.
Okay.
Well, I did start about it, didn't I? I started when the siren went off.
Yeah, but that clock was with you. This one over here is what I have. You're okay. I mean, you're in charge. You can do whatever you want.
You gotta use your atomic clock.
This is
I
By
did.
State Masonry.
Bi-state?
BI.
How come it rings so long?
I don't know. Make sure we all hear it, I guess.
That's our bond information.
They are bonded.
Yep.
And again, we're just opening them today, and we'll make a decision on them on our next week's meeting on the 22nd.
We're gonna give our buildings and grounds and our engineering firm time to look at this and make sure all the specifications are correct and get this right the first time.
Okay, so the bid for them is $32,318 even.
That's the total bid amount.
That's the total bid amount.
Any alternates or addendums?
There's work outside of the scope of the contract. Split face limestone replacement at 8-inch depth per square foot is $425. Smooth face limestone replacement at 8-inch depth is $550. Split face with tooled edge limestone at 8-inch depth is $900. And limestone surface repair per square foot based on a 2-inch depth is $325.
So I'm taking that the price of the stone is one thing and the other is the price of their labor?
Sounds like it's just a breakdown.
Okay.
I asked for additional quantity prices. If they get into it, should find more work.
More work.
So
Okay.
that's what those last 5 items were.
That's what that is,
Okay.
correct?
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
They have a proposed starting date of April 1st and proposed date of substantial completion July 1st based on stone availability.
The total amount is 3201.
32,318.
318, yep.
Well, there is no alternate, it looks like. No
The alternate number 1 is
There is none.
none.
Mm-mm.
And they were having problems getting pricing, so we're not
Yeah.
gonna toss them out if they don't. The alternate was to use the stone from the quarry
I see.
15 minutes away.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, supplier did not provide pricing by time proposal was sent out. Contractor contacted multiple times with no response.
Well, if they didn't supply pricing to these guys, they probably didn't for any of the bids.
Does that fluctuate and vary per season or per availability?
For the stone
Yes,
nearby,
yeah.
it was a quarry that they're opening up in order to do work down at the state, the old state historical building.
Okay.
So, and it happens to be the same quarry that all this stone is pulled from. But they've had limited quantities there and it was closed because they used the majority of the good stone anyhow, so.
Okay. Okay.
next one is Renaissance Restoration Incorporated.
Can we back up just a hair? Where was the first company from? By state?
Rock Island, Illinois.
Okay.
Yes, Rock Island, Illinois.
And Renaissance is from where?
They are from
They're from Iowa, I think.
Dubuque or someplace.
Dubuque, yeah.
Galena?
Galena, Illinois.
Galena, okay.
This is just
I think we need a trip over there and look at their
Right.
site, yeah.
I think so too. I think
You
that's the
take a road trip?
We
My
need to
wife would
find
like to
out.
go along.
Birthplace of Ulysses S. Grant.
That's true. His house is there.
Well, I'm glad I don't hate to be with you when you open Christmas presents.
I should have brought my little grandson. He'd
Yeah,
open them
yeah.
up.
Okay, next time I don't have to be here.
Good fun.
All right, so we have a
Frankie.
bid bond from them, from Renaissance. And then the bid is for $56,480 even. Alternate number one, the use of the limestone increase or decrease, $5,800.
Was that in that ad? Is that what it looks like? Probably no native sign in front of it, or it's not in parentheses?
It's circled as a decrease, and then it
Oh.
says 5,800. So I'm assuming that would be a negative.
Mhm.
So what's that mean? I guess I don't understand.
The thought was that if they had usable local stone,
It all depends, a lot of it all depends on the local availability, correct?
right, that we'd save money on freight.
I see.
Okay.
And then they had also the unit pricing on the A, B, C, and D. So the split face limestone replacement was $250. Smooth face limestone replacement is $400. Split face with tooled edge is $500. And the limestone surface repair is $300. Proposed starting date, May 16th. Proposed date of substantial completion would be June 30th.
June 30th?
Yes.
So for purposes of looking at that, so that we compare the same thing,
You got 3 months here and 2 months.
should we subtract the 5,800 from the 56,480? Or leave it as such, because the other firm did not, the other firm bid 32,318 without any numbers from the LeGrand quarry.
I don't have a good response for you until maybe we open
Okay.
this up and have some more time to think about it.
You know, we got, just out of the first two, we got one company that is scheduled to do 3 months of work, one company is scheduled to 2 months of work. Is one doing less, or one doing more, taking long, I mean,
It's just lead way. They're just playing it safe.
they're giving themselves weather-wise and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to kill time while we're going through the,
Wanna work on your brackets then?
yeah, no, Lisa's doing that.
And we'll spend the next week trying to get some of these answers for you. so
Yeah,
we
I
can make
appreciate
informed
that,
decisions.
Yeah, especially when we go into this repairs for foot on the additional work. You know, that additional number can always come back and bite us in the backside.
Okay, the next one is for Fred Jackson.
There's my Fred.
He's out of Dubuque, Iowa. And we have a bond. And their actual proposal is $106,305. The alternate, it would be an increase of $5,000. And then the breakdowns would be the split-faced limestone, 320, smooth-faced limestone, 520, split-face with tooled edge, 650, limestone surface repair at 290.
All pretty close on that.
Mhm.
Proposed starting date would be April 15th. And proposed date of substantial completion would be July 1st.
Dan, can you run by the total bid again, please?
The total bid is $106,305 even. Any other questions? We're just moving right along then, huh?
Oh, boy.
You started out with a low one and you're just working your way
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
I actually did them by the date and time
Oh.
stamp that they came in, so I have no knowledge. It just happens to be doing it that way. I really just want to go slower just for you.
Well, you're doing a very good job of that.
Well, I don't want to cut the stuff. All right, so Western Specialty Contractors out of West Des Moines. We have a bond. Their base proposal is $49,815. $49,815.
Okay.
The alternate is increase of 10,685 even. Then the split face limestone would be at 845. Smooth face limestone would be 1,210. Split face with tooled edge would be 1,400. And limestone surface repair would be 400. Proposed starting date would be June 1st, with a proposed date of substantial completion July 1st.
When was their start date? Yeah.
June 1st,
June 1st.
yeah,
Okay.
To July.
to July. Yep. And then we're on our last one, TNT Tuck Pointing and Building Restoration, LLC. They're out of Stockton, Iowa.
I missed it, yeah. Could you read the name again, please?
Stock.
It's long.
TNT Tuck Pointing and Restoration.
I just blame it on my old ears.
Huh?
Right.
Nothing, nothing.
That's right.
Alright, we have a bond for them as well. Their base proposal is $86,800. Alternate number 1 is no change. And then their breakdown is for the split faced is 550, smooth face 800, split face 950, and limestone surface repair is 300. They have proposed starting date of April 15th with a completion of June 30th.
They have a bid bond.
They did, yes.
What did-
Yep,
what
all
did
5 had
We
bonds.
figure 100,000 for this. That's it, that's good.
That's almost exactly what they told us.
So that's on top of the amount, bid amount. That would be on top of that. That would be on top of the 5640
No, 56,480 is total.
total.
Yeah.
So
these others they would add up.
Yeah.
I see.
It was
Okay.
negative
That
on
was
the
a
first
negative
one
in that
and a
580.
positive figure on the second two.
Okay.
You guys need anything clarified, or?
No, I
you
don't
guys
believe
can
so.
look at
No.
it, but-
You know, it gives you guys a week to go through and look at this, and I think the important thing is that we compare these additional figures on the rock, because some of them put in there by the foot price, and some of them put in a total dollar amount, and you're just gonna have to get to the bottom line and make a good recommendation to us, but there's a heck of a range of pricing.
We do need a motion to, we receive these.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we receive the study for the bid proposals as opened and listed above, and to give our engineering firm and buildings and grounds crew a week to look at this, and we can approve them or give the final award at our next board meeting next Tuesday,
Okay, we got
which
a
would be
motion?
April,
March
no,
22nd.
March 22nd.
Are you done? Okay, I'll second it then.
All right, we got a motion to second. Any more, any discussion? Roll call, please.
I'm afraid to. Thompson,
Yes?
Gravenbauer,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Okay,
I still think that Lisa should pick Oklahoma.
moving on to the consent agenda, approval of the minutes for special session of October 23rd, 2016. I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda as printed above.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Thompson,
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
All right, moving on to item 4, secondary roads. Paul Geilenfeld, welcome. You can sit up here and use your microphone. This, there again, this is just kind of a forum to discuss anything, and Vertus is here, and you've got a point I think you want to make, so maybe we'll just start off with Vertus.
Oh, I just want to listen to what he's got to offer.
He's got some solutions for you, and let's all hear them
Well, you can just sit right up there.
with
Vertus.
everybody in the same room, so we're all on the same page and have the understanding of,
I don't know if you guys have seen.
that we're all together
Have
on
you been to
this
the site? Have you been to the Maple Grove Cemetery?
several times.
So this isn't gonna be a surprise to you, but this is.
Yep.
I should have made more copies. Can you guys share?
Yep.
Wait, I'm sharing with him. You should,
If you want, here,
wait a minute.
can you all three share so I can give a
Yeah,
copy to Rose? so
yeah,
you can see
that's
what we're
right.
talking about?
I didn't realize it would get this complicated on here.
a bigger herd of cats.
I tell you what, this is something else.
Well-
James, where are you? I can't even see you back there.
You can see how, you're looking at the edge
Can you
of
see
the road, and then there is no ditch, and it starts going up toward the back slope immediately at the edge of the road. And you can kind of see the area right on the shoulder, off the shoulder, where, that's where one of the places our blade scalped when we were pushing snow back, but the ground wasn't frozen, so there was really no way for the operator to tell that he was getting into sod. So it just, other than looking at his blade and seeing black.
And that happens so fast, even if he saw it, he wouldn't be able to adjust it in time.
And so, it's just one of those, the tough part for the operator is this is a section that just doesn't exist very many places in the county. I mean, there's a few of them, but here's another picture of the other angle of the same situation.
Well, even in fact, we're higher here.
And you can actually see that right at the edge of the road, it goes up about 8 to 12 inches right away.
Yeah.
Right here, there's almost like a dirt curb that pops up. I took this picture because it just kind of shows, if you look at the horizon, you can see how much the grade of the ditch is above the grade of the road. That's the top of the hill. So it's really tough to keep a machine when we're moving snow out of that material. And I'd like to be able to translate a ditch down through there. This is the picture of what the ditch at the north end of the cemetery looks like. And if you look, it's not a deep ditch, it's maybe only a foot deep, but it comes off the grade of the road, goes down, and then back up the back slope. And I've talked with Burgess about this before, but this section where it's a shallow ditch and then goes back up to the fence, I think I could translate that section completely through the frontage of the cemetery other than the driveways. And,
Are the driveways right on the top of the hill?
there's one at the top of the hill, and if you go back to that first picture I gave you, or the second picture,
You can see where
you can see where this is the main gate to the cemetery,
Right,
but that's no driveway. I mean,
that's no driveway.
I don't think you could get a vehicle in that driveway unless it was a four-wheel drive truck, and then it'd have to be pretty good conditions. It's a 4-foot rise off the road. So the main ornamental driveway to the cemetery is not even usable. And so it makes it tough to also makes it tough to make that walk gate usable too, because there's a walk gate right next to that.
Right here.
Next to that too.
Vertus, when people go in, do they use the ornamental gate or do they use the driveway?
They pull up,
Anywhere?
different times, let me put it this way, when they walk, they'll pull up to, cause it's, gated off, you know, there's a place so they can't, drive all the way in, and so then they walk through that gate.
Do they use this walk gate by the ornamental entrance or the one up by the 911 sign?
Probably up by the sign there, if that's what you call it.
Well, that green one's the 911, just where the address is.
Oh, yeah, okay, I see it.
What picture you got there, Paul?
If you look at the one that shows the horizon, this one.
Right here, okay.
This is where
Oh,
the
okay.
fence is. This is the sign for the cemetery, the 911 sign, and this is where
This
the
is where
drive
the drive
entrance
is.
that they normally
Okay.
use. I don't,
Okay.
where a normal vehicle could
Where
get
that's where the
get into
vehicles would come in,
cemetery.
okay, okay.
But with where the ornamental one is at, with that grade raise, there's a lot of times of the year where that's barely passable for someone just to walk up, because it's, like I say, it's pretty steep, it's, you know.
So why doesn't everybody use where the top of the
He
911?
said they do, for the most part.
Okay. So what's your solution here?
To translate this section,
Right here.
this section back through this, and it's gonna be a, I mean, you're gonna be cutting 2 feet of dirt out of right there, because the first foot is just to get you down to the edge of the road, and then another foot deep to get down to a V ditch of some sort, and then we would take it back slope, back up to the fence line.
We can't do that, can we?
That's a ditch. That's our ditch.
Okay, we can go
Yeah.
this far,
Yeah,
but we cannot engineer up to there.
No, the
Just the
fence,
back
is at the right-of-way line. I mean, we can
Oh.
go up to the fence.
So they've actually protruded down onto the county property.
No, it's still a ditch, it's still the right-of-way.
Okay,
But the fence is on their property.
okay,
But
sure.
as long as we don't, but there's no reason to tamper with the grade where the fence is at. It's just a matter of making some sort of a sustainable ditch that goes down in front of the cemetery.
The reason I asked
I
about,
don't even think, because you're up on a very light slope, and as you go down, you don't need to grade nothing. Just leave it alone, and, just stay off.
Leave it the way it is right here?
To the north I would, and here, I'm gonna tell you this, we spent a half a day, 6 guys, and I'm not much of a worker, but I did rake and put some sod back there. That's why it's looking good now. And I'm just, asking, to not throw any stuff up against our fence and just stay away
We
from
wouldn't
it.
get that high, would we?
And Burgess,
Well, if
that's
they're
why I
running
wanna
down
cut
doing
this ditch
snow.
through the frontage,
Well,
because
you got it.
would be a condition where we might
You
be
can't
able to
not
stay out.
put on
But
that.
this stuff up here,
no place
there's no
for frickin'
chance we
snow
can
to
guarantee
go.
that we can stay out.
So it goes all the
Because
way
there's
up
always
here.
gonna be these soft times when we're moving snow, and a blade end, when he's winging back, is gonna scalp that.
I'm just
Every
here
year we gotta
for
deal
common sense.
There is no
Common
common
sense,
sense.
and you're
This
not
is emotion.
saying you can use common sense.
But on the legal aspect of it, and I know we face this on a couple areas, on hard surface roads where somebody has mowed all the way up to the hard surface, we can't not plow that, because what happens if the next guy comes along there and the county's liability, we haven't plowed it, and they go in the ditch because we didn't plow it.
We wing back the snow so that we have room to plow the next snow drift into that
Yeah, I
space.
understand.
And is that where we got the problem with,
That's when the scalping happened. But
okay,
it
was
happened
when we were
because-
winging?
It happened because the ground underneath wasn't frozen.
Right.
If it was frozen, you just bounce off of the frozen
Yeah.
ground and it'd just go.
Well, we had a lot of that this year and you know,
We're gonna have that
we
every year.
normally don't get 6 inches of rain in December.
But my biggest concern for the operator too, is that section in front of the cemetery is not a rural road section. And that is what we maintain, that's what our guys operate on, is a rural section. We don't do curb and gutter, because if we had curb and gutter, we would plow it up into somebody's front yard. And this is essentially an earth curb and gutter that you're looking at right here. It does go up about 8 inches right at the edge of the road. It's gonna
Yes.
be very difficult. There's one other way to get us out of that, and that's to put dirt and a few 100 ton of rock down and raise that road about 2 feet. And if we raise the road 2 feet there, it will likely be back to where it was 50 years ago. Because I would guess that 50 years ago, that road was higher than it is right now.
I can go 70 years, never had such a terrible job of
Curtis?
keeping it.
Was this road better up with the grade on this original gate? Because I'm assuming they used to be able to get vehicles in that gate. Did they?
If you're assuming things, everything was,
Higher?
like, pretty much like today. It's not built up like you say. it
The
is.
grade of the road was the same? It was that much down from the,
I would say so.
okay. I wasn't there. I just-
The other side of the road, I mean, there's a ditch over there,
Hmm?
on the other side, across the road
It's
from
a
the
shallow
cemetery.
ditch, but it's still something there.
Okay, there, you can't tell by the picture, it just looks like a ditch there, but, okay.
It is.
Well, there's your water line in the ditch,
On, coming up to it, yeah.
coming up to it,
See,
yeah.
that comes up to about
Mhm.
here.
There, and
Comes up to
what
the
Curtis
top
is
of the
saying is an option too, is to do nothing and we just run the risk of this type of damage happening 1 year out of 5, maybe, depending on what the weather is. It's really if the grade is frozen. If the ground's frozen, him winging back won't get into that scalp and that sod. But when it's not
I
frozen,
can't
it's soft
instructed to do it that way.
and it goes with the snow.
But,
It's all in the training.
now, let's don't get into that, but Paul,
You could make that argument except for the fact that the operator that runs this road is likely my most skilled blade operator that I have on the staff.
you know, Burgess has given us that option. What would it take to do that? And my only problem is if we start a la carting this stuff out, we're gonna have a heck of a mess out there on our county roads.
I'm just trying to come up with a ditch section that we think we can maintain
Yeah.
and not do damage on a regular basis to the frontage of the cemetery. This section on the north, I think we can hold that grade. It would take, I don't know, maybe a week. It's gonna be golf course type stuff, so it's gonna be a lot of fine grading and trying to make things smooth. For us, the trick is gonna be to get new sod established in that ditch. And if they want sod, I don't have any greenskeepers working for me that I
Mhm.
can, I can get good solid sod to establish itself
Well,
on a short.
you're
term.
talking about doing a bunch of stuff and Vertus almost sounds like he's talking about he doesn't want you to do anything.
Leave it alone.
But he wants me to stay away from it, which means it makes it a little tough to blade the road on certain occasions.
Let me interject one thing.
Yeah.
I agree with Fouch that you remember a year ago or whatever it was, dropped off about 18 inches or more. And he said he'd get a couple loads of dirt dumped in there, so you kind of get it even back up. And of course, as things go, I can understand it never got done. And that would be one of the things that should be done, so I can get in. Otherwise, and the other thing is, we can asphalt the deal up there and asphalt the other one, and at the county expense.
I'm not even gonna mess with that. I just wanna know how we can get this thing, because we go through this every year. Let's get a handle on it and do it. I don't wanna bring any dirt in.
Well, we
Let's
can,
do it the simplest way we can do it and be most effective.
if you direct me to ditch in front of the cemetery, I can put the dirt in the road grade with a lot more rock and shape up the grade with that material rather than haul it off. And so it'd be kind of a combination of lowering the ditch, raising the road grade maybe, I don't know, 6 inches. And raising the road grade would actually help that drive where the drive entrance is be a little more civilized because it wouldn't be as much uphill going to the cemetery.
It'd take a culvert to do that, though.
There may already be one in there.
Okay.
No, I don't think there's a culvert there because that's a hilltop, so
Oh, I
it would be a dry fill there.
Okay.
What's the best thing for you and your operators to do, so that we aren't faced with revisiting this on an annual basis?
To me, the only way to make something that's not an annual problem is to at least get a ditch section like I'm showing you on the north end of the cemetery frontage. That is cemetery frontage right there, so if that condition that exists today on the north end of the cemetery is acceptable, then I think we could make that happen throughout.
On the north end, you should just leave it alone.
Right,
Yeah,
but that is the
north.
section that I want to translate back through the south, through this area where you can't get anything moved for snow without getting into the ground. I wanna make this ditch section happen all the way back through here, all the way to
Stuff
the
that's
other
gotta
end.
come out in here.
And then we could likely, but what I need is I'll need some help getting sod.
I don't want to spend that much money out there.
I don't either.
Because I can seed it, but I can't
Tired of
seed it
dealing
with
with it.
necessarily I can't make sure the grass gets established.
But you
And it's established
he
right.
starts going in here.
Grass-
Hell, that's gonna be worse for these
grass
people
will
walking
weed.
up that.
It'll grow.
So if you don't
Then he's
see
gonna
that as a
want
problem,
steps.
I don't see doing the earthwork as a problem. But we'll
Bill
seed it
Armbrecht's
and,
gonna
On the
I'm gonna get
north
some
end,
coffee.
I just leave it so
Right,
I'm gonna
people
get a
can
little break
correct.
from my
come and
coffee.
park.
Bill, you want
That's
more
the main
coffee?
thing.
the north end
Dinner's
is
tea.
what I wanna use as my pattern on what to do with the rest of the frontage.
Well, I hope you don't use the tear the side out, or tear the tear the dirt out and tear it down to the other part. I mean, leave that alone,
The north is,
north.
I do wanna leave that alone. What you're seeing right there, what you're seeing right there though, is what I wanna make the rest of this look like.
On all honesty, as far as cost effectiveness, everything else, I don't know why we just can't leave it alone. You tell me why we can't leave it alone.
We certainly can, but then we still end up having this discussion unless I tell our operators, under no circumstances, touch a blade on anything outside the roadway in front of Maple Grove Cemetery, and I can tell them that.
But you didn't like that idea.
I don't like it because it's.
No, because then we're gonna a la carte it and everybody's gonna want it done.
That's right.
But I got 500 people that would like to have it. And
We got 35,000 people that don't care. So we,
until they die.
but I'm just saying, we've gotta do this in a way.
Whatever we do here with this cemetery is different than what I would do on a regular rural section, so
I
I
see.
need it to come from you three. Because I'm gonna be doing something that could possibly establish a new policy on the board's part.
And that's what I'm afraid of doing
And
here.
that's what I don't wanna do.
Establish policy by past practice really easy.
I would be in favor of just leaving it alone. Even out on my area, Burgess, I get sod in my yard once in a while. That's why, I live there, that happens. You deal with it. I would rather do that than dig this whole thing out and put a whole great big ditch in there, because you're not gonna like that. I would say leave it alone, and then when these things come up, get your buddies together, fix the sod, say that's the way it is, and go on.
I just gotta say, the state engineer, Scott Gottseder, he leaves it alone by the county farm. You know, he doesn't tear the fence out there. They've discovered some more from the county, when the county farm was there on Highway 30. And they did make a determination to leave the cemeteries alone. And that's what I'm saying about grading along there. If you just don't grade quite so close and try to, you can move over a little bit. That's, but throwing rock up there and I can't believe that how bad it's got. And so I think it looks pretty decent for the way it looked when we started.
Yeah, I mean, these pictures aren't 2 hours old. I mean, I took these this morning, so.
Well, I would move that we leave it alone. Do your best to stay away from the side with your graders, and go from there. You want a motion on it? If you do, I just move.
Are we actually, because this is just a presented department update, we didn't have anything on here as an agenda.
We didn't have an action
Okay, we
item.
can't do it
So
then.
we can't.
I remove it.
You didn't remove anything, you didn't remove, have it put on anyway. You can't remove it,
I did.
we think you did.
Yeah. I just wanted to,
Just make it clear.
we can sit here and talk about this off and on
I
for
think
2
for
hours.
just,
It's
for
time to
just
go on.
clarity, I think
Yeah.
you made it very clear. And I think that'll keep, Vertus, will that keep you happy? Cause he's not gonna be very aggressively grading then, which isn't gonna throw things up onto the grass. But at the same time, he's gotta maintain a road. And it,
All you have to do is just move over a few feet. Just a few feet, Dave, there's room.
well, is that gonna take that road down to one lane then?
No, it's one way now.
It's fairly wide. I could also, I'm gonna take these pictures and talk to Vouch, the motor grader operator. Here's our problem, give us some help here. I can also add a little extra rock in front of the cemetery and possibly get some of this curb effect dealt with. Because it's the fact that the soil comes up, the soil and rock, it comes up right at the edge of the road.
But we're gonna lose that rock the first time we get a major snowfall
But
anyway.
that risk is always there if it's not nailed down.
And we're gonna make our, you know, our.
And then you're
our
gonna
own
throw the
curb.
rock up into the grass,
Exactly,
and we're
yeah.
gonna be right back where we're at.
But we also have to maintain the road, because we can't have a bad spot and then maintain section.
You can't win this one. This is a darned if you do, darned if you don't
So,
thing.
okay, in conclusion, you wanna take these back to Fonts, have him,
Vouch.
excuse me, and have him look at them,
Yep.
and,
And I'll talk with Brad about it, and I'm gonna say that making this work and not causing this prevents us from going in there and having to do a full regrade, and it's gonna be a couple weeks of work and a huge change in front of the cemetery if we do that. But we're not gonna do that if we can keep the
yeah.
situation under control with just not grading soft.
Now, are you satisfied with that decision?
I'm satisfied with it as long as 300 other people don't find out what we just did. Because I can't do that everywhere in the county.
But it is in front of a cemetery.
Yeah.
And that's that's sacred ground.
And I think you can make the argument to the public that we can use a different standard of care in front of a cemetery.
From a cemetery. And I guess I could go along with that.
I will.
I could, if that
Yeah.
fits your.
Yeah,
what
Are you fine with that?
It's the, statement, excuse me, step in the right direction.
and I'll direct the motor grader and the superintendent what our intention is. I won't be in the cab with him at 5 in the morning when he's going by there, but so I can't guarantee it, but I can say this is our intent, this is what I'm gonna direct him to do,
Okay.
okay?
But I don't want it to step in the right direction, I want it to be the direction. 'Cause we're not gonna alter our steps. This is a final, this is it, right here.
I
You
hope
know,
so.
that way you're happy, he's happy,
I hope,
and I don't know about her.
as long as you're honest and kind.
There's still further steps that we hope we don't have to take, is
Yeah,
what I'm
right.
saying,
Right, sounds good. You've got the direction, thank you.
all right?
Okay, let's make it work.
Okay, department head update. Keep talking.
I just got a kind of a quick laundry list. Our excavator that's on order is gonna be built in the first week of April. The two attachments that we purchased are at Murphy right now, so when that thing hits the ground, probably the third week of April, they'll get the attachments on, and we should have it by the end of April or by early May.
Well, okay.
And we will put that thing right to work. One issue that it's gonna work on immediately that wasn't really planned is our, what we call the chicken shed down there. There's an old building that we park pickups, and we have a lot of other storage of things that we just didn't wanna throw away, that we'll probably never use again. And, that building's coming down. It's coming down on its own, and it's really not safe to be in right now. If there's a snow event, you can see a lot of daylight through the roof, and the structure of the roof trusses is damaged. We've made some repairs, but this building's gone. So we are gonna bring this building down before it hurts somebody or destroys a few pickups. It's just a risk that we don't need down in the yard. We will be short pickup storage for a little while. We're gonna take a lot of things that are long-term storage there to a building at our link shed. So we'll be able to make do with what we've got. There may be some pickups that used to be parked under a roof that'll be parked outside for a while now. I don't have an immediate plan to replace that building, but we can talk about that. But this thing right now is just a risk that we don't wanna have down there.
And clean that area up back there. I mean,
We're making good progress on that right now with the scrap steel pile is to the east of this building, and it's gone. It's all been taken across the street to Gerbridge now. And, we're in the process of cleaning things up, but we think that this building should be reduced, so.
well, it should have been reduced. I remember 8 years ago walking in it.
It's just, yeah, it's just one of
You're
those.
looking up through the roof and, and everything else.
Yeah, and it wouldn't take but just a good heavy wet snow to collapse the thing.
Okay.
We found I told you we were gonna try to use the rest of our equipment budget to get pickups, and we were able to find a pickup. We got a quote from Ken Wise for Jim Castor's pickup, and they were our low price, so we're gonna have that on your next board agenda
Good.
for an action item, but just happy to be able to buy one with a local dealer.
Is that a Dodge?
It is a Dodge, and that will be the end of our equipment purchasing for fiscal 16. It will leave us roughly $2,500 or something like that in equipment. But there won't be any more equipment purchases. And then, I had spoken with you about a trailer purchase for our excavator so that we can have equipment out there when we're working on a culvert job. And what we found is
Thought we had a trailer for that.
we're looking for an enclosed trailer with security so we can put a generator and some stuff that's worth some pretty good money
When
inside
we
the trailer.
first started talking about this, we had a trailer for this.
We were looking at them, yes,
Oh,
but
I thought we had one.
No.
That was to haul it from point A to point B.
we have a trailer to haul the excavator. What we want is a trailer for equipment that will be on the job site with us, like a generator, or welder, just different things that we might need when we're out on the site.
But is that gonna be for more than just this piece of equipment? That can be for
It-
all our job sites?
It's gonna be built really for doing the bridge and culvert work, the trailer. But
Basically, it's gonna sit there and you're gonna have an office or
it's,
not really an office.
it's
but
really gonna be a
storage.
locked shed that
Yeah.
someone can't pull up with their pickup and take off with $10,000 worth of equipment, or, just really quickly. we looked at the enclosed trailers and modifying one, and all of them ended up being, if we made the modifications we wanted to make, it got into the structure of the trailer, and they're like, you can't do that to that trailer. So what we did was we bought an old cube van trailer, just the cube, off a trailer. You know, it's basically it's a Staples truck, is what it was.
I see it sitting down there.
It
Now,
was a
what the
box,
heck are you doing
the
with
box
that?
off a Staples truck. Now we destabilized the thing, and it's mounted on a trailer that we already owned.
I see
And we're
that.
gonna, and it'll have an open area of the trailer so that we can put the compactor and the breaker on there with it. And then there'll be an enclosed area for the generator and different, you know, hand tools that we need to keep secure. So we can keep everything secure on this trailer, but one trailer can haul everything we need to go to work on with the excavator out there.
Got a roll top door then?
It's, yes, yeah, it's essentially just the cube taken off the chassis of a cube truck.
What's something like that cost, Paul?
It was like $500 or $600, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't
I see
much.
that sitting there, and I think I had the power washer, and I've been stripping the,
We were trying to
Staples
get the staples off of it, yeah.
yeah. I
We
see
didn't
that
think
right.
Staples wanted us running around with their logo on there.
Did you use the easy button?
No, it wasn't easy.
If you ever need a bread truck, well, we'll go in that later.
We need heavier things than bread. That was part of the other problem that we had, because we were
That's what
hauling,
I'm trying to say.
He's got extra racks.
Yeah.
it was, even the densest bread it wouldn't matter.
Carry on.
Okay. I hate to say it's the end of winter because of May 3rd a couple of years ago, but
Hush, don't screw this up.
I'm gonna get quotes for 2,000 tons of salt, and that should top off the dome. If we have it with room in our budget, I wanna go into summer with a full salt dome so that I know that we've got it come next winter. We don't have to wait on delivery and hope that we have salt. We likely have enough right now to get us through a winter, if it's a winter like this. But a winter like, you know, I can hold 4,000 ton and I would just as soon have the thing full. So if we have the budget to do it, I'm gonna fill it.
How many ton did we buy last year?
Between
all our shipments?
But we bought it all before July 1st. We haven't bought any in the current fiscal year.
I
yet,
didn't
and
think
don't-
we did.
No, we haven't bought any in this fiscal year yet. We bought it before July 1st.
And see, that's the way they always have done it in the past. Your predecessor, he would buy it in June with that money for that fiscal year. I mean, just
And
to
we've,
be stocked up for it. in
the
case-
other nice thing about buying it in the spring, early summer, is that you're not pinched on delivery. I'd like to get the stuff all in there and get it, but if I have it ordered by May, if we get it in June, we can get it put away, and there isn't half a country looking for salt at the same time, so.
I agree.
uh,
Good, that's a good point.
That sounds
You've
good.
come a long ways.
On your next meeting, I'll have a bridge funding federal agreement with the DOT, which will be the same agreement that the city council just approved last night. And that will just complete the agreement with the DOT that says that we will accept this funding for this bridge and that we will have a project let at the DOT within 3 years. And I don't see that being a problem.
At that point, can we start now with going to the DOT, getting the engineering done, and wait to let the project? Because, you know, we've been trying to say we were gonna do this in the 2017 construction season.
The process has already started as far as plan development.
Okay.
With Calhoun Burns, with our consultant. The next step after we get this funding agreement done is to get a 2080 agreement in place with the city that says, I'm gonna do what, Justin's gonna do what, and just an agreement between the two entities on the day-to-day and what's gonna happen with the progression of the project. One thing that I wanna get written into there is a section that gives the city council kind of an approval section on the plan set too. Right now, we've never done that where we had two entities approve the plans, but since it's, you know, it's a joint bridge project, I wanna make sure that they have a kind of a stamp on it too, so they can be content with what the design and the plans are gonna be.
You know, we've been getting a lot of calls of concern that the city is requesting fencing on both sides, plus to keep the people fishing.
And I haven't heard that from anybody with Public Works to this point. but I'm not saying it doesn't exist, I'm just.
No, this is just council members.
Oh, okay.
And do we have the right to, we have the right or obligation to do that? And I would about imagine the bridge itself will have some kind of fencing on it, because I see a lot of these new bridges with,
The bridges that you see with fencing, it's usually just to prevent some idiot from dropping bricks off a bridge.
Yeah.
Overpasses.
Yeah, you see them on overpass situations. I can't say I've seen them on just bridge over, just over water.
Well, with the width, if you throw a fence on that, is that gonna hurt us on somebody with extra wide equipment?
The bridge is gonna be 30 feet wide plus a
be
sidewalk.
wider
So
anyway. It shouldn't be hanging out that
if it's
kind of a-
wider than that, it wouldn't even fit once it got inside town anyway.
Okay.
But that's just some of the things we've been hearing.
Okay. Well, the 2080 agreement will allow the city council and you guys to have that discussion, and I can, Justin and I can help you with what's possible and what there are actually established standards for.
Mhm.
Pretty much do whatever we want, but you get too far out into left field and you have to do a complete custom design on everything, and that just increase costs and consulting
Well,
fees.
they want a fence so that people won't fish down there, but how far do you extend, would you extend a fence to going east that somebody wouldn't crawl over it anyway?
They're just gonna go past the end of the fence. I mean, if fences worked, we wouldn't be having half of the discussion on the nightly news we currently have.
And I don't know if it would work to just make an ordinance, county, city, both, of you can't fish off this bridge. You may just be able to make it illegal to fish off this bridge. Maybe an enforcement issue, but at the same point.
That's getting into a whole new,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
who's gonna enforce it?
yeah.
Because the enforcement issue goes back to
You're pointing.
this, oh, no.
Yeah.
The enforcement issue goes back to the city takes no ownership of the bridge.
I still can't believe people fish off of the bridges that are out there that are 22 feet wide, and there's no speed control out there, so it's a 55 mile an hour, and you're 2 feet away from
Mhm.
a vehicle going past you,
And at night, you don't see them until you're.
and they're
No,
just
no.
fine standing out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
In their own mind, they're fine.
oh, I know it,
yeah,
I know it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, the 2080 agreement will be we'll give you guys what you need to lay that down with each of them, and find out where the city council stands on that kind of stuff. And then, as far as the DOT budget and 5-year construction program, I've gotta have that on one of the next couple meetings. I plan on having it at least by the 5th of April meeting. So that will be where we program out what we see as the next 5 years of construction, and the DOT budget is just a mirror of the budget that you already approved for my department, compartmentalized the way the DOT wants to see it, and I'll do that with the amendment and the current budget.
What are we looking at for paving this year?
It, today is the letting, it's probably been let already, for Wallace Avenue from 96 down to Garwin Road, there's 6 miles.
And that's the state, though.
Nope, that's Wallace, that's us.
Okay.
96 is gonna be resurfaced this summer too, from 14 to Gladbrook.
Right.
And that's 10 miles that's already been let, and Manette's is gonna be doing that job. So I'm hopeful that Manette's is gonna have a pretty sharp pencil on our job, since it sits right in the middle of their 10-mile resurfacing project.
So this is gonna be, you're gonna take the surface off.
We do the cold in place recycling. It'll be
Right.
similar to what we did out on Lincoln Way on the project. We will do a paved shoulder for, part of the shoulder will be paved, and that just helps us with that edge rut maintenance. And the truck traffic that Wallace gets, that's gonna be really important.
You got some roads, lined up to fill cracks, to remove the bump?
I haven't got quotes yet, but I'm working with Denko as the company that we use, and on the top of my list is Marble Road, I think.
Dylan,
It's gonna be that'll be a,
That's E18. Marble Road's E18.
from Bangor out to the west is probably gonna be needing some attention.
That
And it's a
catches a lot of
slur-
traffic.
Yeah, and it's,
That catches a lot more traffic than the sand road.
it's got some bad wheel slap to it, and we can do that slurry leveling where it takes the wheel slap out of those cracks.
Like we did on Sand Road.
Correct. And up by Liscum, from Liscum out to 14 we did, and we did Dillon Road the same
Yeah,
way.
I was gonna say, you screwed that up.
And what it really does is it just lets us take the road out another 5 to 8 years before we have to come in and resurface. So it allows us to keep the roads in our rotation for resurfacing.
Are there any roads to the further south that need that same type of thing?
There's a couple roads that are in a condition where doing that treatment doesn't save anything. It doesn't
Okay.
get us, it doesn't pay us to do it because the road's already too far gone. And so those would be the roads that we'll be putting in the next year, the next 2 years in our program. And that's what we're gonna make a priority list. When we do the 5-year program, it'll say, this is what we're planning on paving this year, next year, and the year after that.
So that one you're gonna bring to the meeting here, on the 5-year, those roads will be involved in that?
That, the 5-year construction program is every construction project that we see us performing in the following 5 years.
Okay,
Bridges and culverts also.
Everything, yes.
everything, okay.
Okay,
And it doesn't mean for sure that those are gonna be built in that year, but it means that we have the intent to do them. And we usually will program a little bit more than we can actually afford to build. In case there's a problem with a project, as it progresses, we may have to move a project back if there's a right-of-way issue or something else happens. And the way the rules work with the DOT is we can't let anything that's not programmed. So we program a little bit more than we can let, so we have options.
can I back up to Wallace for just a second?
Sure.
Can you give me the start and the end point of that? That was 6 miles?
Highway 96, south to Garwin Road.
And that was miles,
6 miles.
6 miles.
I mean, there may be a decimal or something in there, but it is 6 on the map.
Okay.
That one's fairly heavily traveled.
It gets a lot of truck traffic. The quarry puts a lot of trucks on it, and
It really gets beat up.
it gets quite a bit. And that's all I have for you guys. If you got any,
Now, I still want you to visit with the farmers with me, with the problems that they have.
yep,
Because when we sit here in this office, or we go out and we drive a pickup down the middle of the road, we don't understand what their problems are. And if you would work with me on that, it's not gonna be a gripe session.
yep,
I won't allow that to happen. But I think we need to visit with them and say, okay, I've got semis that I can't turn into my yard because the back hopper catches, because of the slope of the.
and that's,
of the road.
and that's not something we wanna do anyway, so we wanna
Yeah,
make those corrected.
Yeah, and crossroads, same thing. But if we can visit with them, and I'll have them educated ahead of time, we can go out and see them one at a time, instead of having a big meeting. If we have a big meeting, that's when people start complaining, beyond what needs to be said. And, but if you work with me on that.
Yep,
I think we can come up so that you understand what their problems are. And you'll say, well, doggone it, their equipment is bigger than it used to be. Yeah, we ain't gonna change that, that's the way the world is.
Just the way it is.
Yeah, and when I first started farming, nobody had semis. Shoot, we all had wagons, and now we all got semis, and so it's a different ballgame. And if they can hear what you say too, then they better understand what you're trying to do. I think this education, I'll call it education, but it's a transfer of concerns. They need to hear your concerns too.
okay, yeah.
And so I think it'll work.
And the toughest part is that historically in this county, roads didn't have a lot of cross slope in them.
Yeah.
There was a lot of roads that had absolutely no cross slope. And they were great in the middle of July when it was dry and hard, you could drive 110 mile an hour down that road. But after you get a half-inch of rain, it turns into a swamp.
You talked about getting a slope meter for the truck.
I wanna get a
ball bank indicator that tells you what the slope is, so I can get real numbers on cross slopes, cause I can kinda eyeball most of them. But if we're talking with people and complaints, I need to be able to say, that's 4%, and that's my minimum, that's what I wanna be able to do. But 4% cross slope should not be able to damage any equipment,
Yeah.
so,
Is that an extremely expensive item, or?
no.
Okay.
Are you just talking about a bubble, or you talking about
It's-
electronic?
It's, they call it a ball bank indicator, but you can get where it's like, it's not like a bubble, but it's like a thing you mount in your vehicle, and it's got a little ball in it that as the vehicle tilts, it just goes to the slope that it is.
I think you and I call them a level.
Well, it's kinda like taking your cell phone and setting it up there, it'll do the same thing, but,
You can put it, there are apps for your cell phone that will do that.
but it's too small to read.
It's, the only problem is you just have to stop to
Yeah,
make those work
yeah.
right, because
I-
because bumps throw them off.
I was not implying.
So this operates as
No,
you're
there's
going down the
really-
I
road?
thought you were.
No, I'm just saying they're available.
There is an app for the phone that.
Yep,
Seriously?
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
they,
yeah.
yeah, I was hanging,
even do
I was
that.
hanging
There's
some
an app
stuff
for
for my
that.
daughter, and she
You
had
gotta
one.
be kidding me.
But, yeah, if we can work on that,
Okay,
I'd appreciate working with you, and,
I can go just about any time, just give me a holler.
okay,
I saw yesterday an email come across, we've got our first soft spot for the season.
It was last Friday,
Yeah.
and there's a few bad spots out there, and we're doing a lot of spot rocking right now just to try to get some of the mud holes, but, there are a few techniques that have been just coming out of recent research that I'm gonna try on frost boils, and one of them is basically doing a rock column right around this frost boil. We can take our sign truck and auger an 8-inch hole down into the ground and go 6 feet down and fill that with clean rock. And what it does is it just gives an exit for that water, because that frost boil happens because there's frozen ground below it and it can't go down and it can't get out, so it just kinda starts coming up. But if you have sort of a drain that ends up being what this rock column can be, it can get down below the frost line and that water can actually get through there, so.
So you're basically
pla-
making a French drain.
There's places where it does work, yeah. And just from research that's been done even in the last few years here in central Iowa, so.
The frost boils, they've been fighting them forever.
oh yeah, same place for
Forever and ever. I mean, you're not
150
gonna-
years.
And there's no silver bullet, there's no magic way to
No.
make sure you get rid of them, but this can help.
I'm surprised we haven't had problems on Smith Avenue yet.
We have.
Okay.
And it's mostly been problems near the edge of the road where people's driveways are at, there's mud there, and I've had some complaints.
Right past the Isaac Walton
Yeah,
League.
Yeah,
Are we gonna have to shut it down again?
I don't think it's gonna get that bad this year, but it's just, because so far the frost has been coming out slower, and it wasn't as deep this year as we've had in some past years, so that, this won't last as long this year, it won't be end of May and we're still looking at frost.
It's everywhere. I was visiting, at church the other day, a guy that runs a grader for Hardin County, and they're, it's the same thing.
Yep.
It's just the way the ground is.
On a nice note, we need to pass on a compliment, and when we were at Farm Bureau the other night, we got a comment from the president of Farm Bureau that the roads were the best he has
Best he's
seen
ever
them
seen.
in
Years.
literally his lifetime.
Hmm.
And that would be the northwest quadrant.
And,
So not everybody is killing us.
but strangely, the Northwest is where we did get aggressive with cutting those edge lips down, and we had a lot of people, what are you guys doing? Stop that. And I'm like, it's not gonna be perfect for a while, but it's gonna be better in a year. It's better than
Yeah.
6
But how do
months.
we get around that, because we had a lot, we were really getting beat up on that deal.
Especially over on Fairman.
Yeah, when we
Yeah.
were taking that and we're dredging those ditches and we're putting bring the rock back up, and what the rock
It
comes
was
to mud.
It's just something
It's
that.
dangerous, there's a one point in there where that's very dangerous out there.
It's something that landowners just haven't seen, and it hasn't been done here. So it was just, it's a solution to the,
But then, like you say, a year later, it's the
Yeah.
best freaking road they've ever seen.
I think our true test is what we're gonna see over between us and State Center off of Fairman and that.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
you were very aggressive
Mhm.
reclaiming that rock from the ditch last year and incorporating it back into the road surface.
and the edge lip thing is kind of
Those people were
it's a
really
separate
nice.
deal. That windrow that's on the edge of the road, it just ends up being a 6 or 8 inch dam on the side of the road that just keeps that water that's going off
Yeah.
and lets it puddle right there on the edge of the road. I don't want that. I want it to go to the ditch, so I wanna,
And it's hard to do when you're trying to create a crown, because if you pull dirt from the side to create the crown, you're lowering the side. So that enhances our problem. It enhances our dam.
yeah, it needs to be more of a build than a cut. I need to, we've got operators that get a little aggressive with it, and I've gotta woe them up a little. But if they're just cutting off the edge lip and bringing that into the
Yeah.
road, it shouldn't do that.
There were times, there were roads by me that I was really concerned for the safety of people. Because if you had a carload of kids coming down here and a guy with a semi full of corn, he's gonna pull over. And if that goes in the ditch, his insurance company may not pay the bill. They may say, nope, that's the county's problem. I think that happened in Grundy County. I think we need to be concerned about that year you're talking about, that's a problem. Because it is a safety problem.
The only problem I've seen is there was a couple times when they cut the lip and they did leave it too far out into the road. I had to have them push it back another couple feet. But if we've got 24, 26 feet of traveled portion in that center of that road that's usable, we're good from a
But
liability
some of those
standpoint.
roads, we don't have that.
The DOT looks at it as a 20-foot road, two 10-foot lanes and you
It's
know,
not enough.
4-foot shoulder. But that's what they define the road as. You know what
I
mean?
like your opinion better.
But 24, 26 is safe, and believe me, if we grade up a lot of our roads to a 28-foot top in Marshall County, people are gonna think that they're driving on this absolutely narrow road that has never looked like that. But then you go out onto, you know, some of our paved roads, go out on Summit, and it's 28 feet wide. Break to break off the shoulder, so it's just a matter of change. Bugs a lot.
Are you gonna have an aggressive area that you're going to be doing that reclamation again this year?
I don't know that it's gonna be like it was in the Northwest. I've gotta get with Brad and see.
Because
where we wanna
if
do
we
it
are,
next.
maybe the answer is to almost have a meeting and let the people in that quadrant or that area know what we're going to do, how the process works. That it's gonna be a little bit painful, but the end result is gonna be a much better product. Maybe our problem is we're not educating, we're not doing enough information and getting it out what we're doing.
Part of the problem is that was the worst up in the Northwest, because that's where we use the sand gravel. And the sand gravel isn't everywhere else in the county, so it's
That's
not as
true.
big of a problem everywhere else, so it may
And we're not using that anymore.
No more sand gravel, no. Not unless it's the only gravel available in the county.
Okay.
That's the beach pit with the beach sand.
Yep. Speaking of which, did we do any of the banking of gravel from the other areas into that stockpiling?
No, but right now we have decent pricing, and we have quotes from, we're gonna be hauling rock out of Gerke. So we've got rock for Northwest already committed to us.
Okay.
It's a short haul, and there'd be no reason to handle it twice, because it's just close enough up there.
Turkey's is Gifford.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope, Paul and I are gonna work on it.
Okay. That's your project.
Yep.
You know, one of our concerns early on was, you know, communication with our people, your people. How is that going for you? Are you,
As far as between me and the guys,
yeah,
I can always do better. I don't think there's anything I can't improve on, so I try to get out and visit with them as much as I can, but I don't do enough of it. I'm gonna spend more time on job sites when we're working these culvert jobs.
you know, and I guess coming on just from my view, I appreciate the job you guys are doing. Because like you say, we hear from Farm Bureau, and believe me, if they weren't happy, we would've heard about that too.
Oh, boy.
But, you know, and I think it'd even make you more credible and more powerful and a better boss by more communication. So that's something maybe you're not feel comfortable with.
We're making an
but
effort.
I know you can do it,
We're
because you yell at me every once in a while. I know you can raise your voice.
We're making an effort to do as much as we can legally with the guys and the operators that we have, because if I get them the tools, I've got some talent out there that we can really do a lot of jobs.
And they really
with our
appreciate
own.
it when you come and talk to them.
They,
you know.
yeah, And
that makes them even better.
I think we're gonna see a lot of that. We're gonna see, my plans right now would be at least 4 box culverts replaced with our own crew this summer, and we may get to a couple more depending on how the season goes.
There's a study bill in the House right now that has to do with reporting of the additional work on bridges and things on that order with the increase in the road use funds. It doesn't look like it's gotten out of the Senate, so it might die.
I think it passed the subcommittee or
Did
something.
it?
last
With
week.
any luck, it'll die a graceful death. But you and I talked a little bit about that, and you're already voluntarily giving that information to what you're doing with the increase of the road use funds to the DOT.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know if it's gonna be a lot more paperwork. I really think it's gonna end up passing. But one thing it does have is it has a 3-year sunset, so it's not something that we have to do forever. You know, they can find out what they wanna know, and I'm happy to give the legislature the information, because I'm just happy that they got the increase passed.
Right.
I wanna give the guys that voted for that increase the tools to say, see, this is what happens when we fund infrastructure.
Some of the roughest comments that were given to us when this was talked about being passed, I mean, the money part, was you're not gonna use it correctly. You're gonna buy stuff that you shouldn't be on there. We can't control it. We can't follow it. And we said, we're gonna do our best. That's our job. And we have. We have no problems at all.
We've got a pretty good, I think, an opinion from the groups with the county engineers that I've talked to as far as providing this information. They understand the why. But the biggest thing is I want to give the legislatures all the information that they want, because a few years, I'm going to start working on the next increase.
Sure.
That's not the last one we want. We want to make sure that if they can see that it pays locally and it builds stuff, it won't take 10 years to get the next one done.
No, but my point is, we're voluntarily giving this information that they are going to request by legislative action.
Yeah, we're giving the information on all infrastructure improvements that we're doing with the extra 10 cents, with the extra revenue. The one that you're talking about, though, I think it just deals with
Bridges.
structurally deficient bridges.
Right.
And they want to be able to say, this is what we're doing for the bridge problem, because an article came out that showed that Iowa had the highest number of structurally deficient bridges in the country. Now, and we have a high percentage of structurally deficient bridges. I think it's 21% of our bridges are structurally deficient, which is as high as anybody else's in the country too. Part of the problem is Iowa's in the top 5 in the country on number of bridges that we have. So it's.
But that same article said that a vast majority of those structurally deficient bridges are only serving 1 or 2 possible farms.
Yes, and structurally deficient has different ways that it happens and gets labeled on a bridge. These bridges that are structurally deficient, a lot of them are doing the same work that they did the day they were built, and they're in the same condition as the day they were built, but they just were built to a different standard. They were built 80 years ago, you know, when we didn't have some of the loads that we've got today.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I can't think anything else.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you for coming,
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, that was
and
good
appreciate
update.
that.
And then we'll kind of look for a follow-up on you and Bill working on that,
Okay.
and we can get out there and you know.
Not this week. Let's talk Monday,
All right.
and we'll set some, however your schedule works.
Okay.
I can look at it right now if you want.
Okay.
Can we carry on while you're looking at your schedule,
Sure.
Paul? Okay. Moving on to item number 5, public forum. This is time set aside for the public to make comments on any topics of county business other than those listed on this agenda. No action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in the public forum. Anybody got any public forum?
Here's your chance, Vertus.
My chance is to say this. When you get a lot of tax money, and I pay a lot of tax money, road use tax, period. And lo and behold, you're asking for a fee of $50 fee for dust control. And I think that's carrying it a little too far, and it makes me think that the county is kind of greedy for more taxes.
Okay, thank you for your opinion. James, you're another, okay. There being nothing else to come before the board, we stand adjourned. There be no further business to come. The meeting is adjourned at 10:15. Thank you guys very much.